Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, my name is Denis and I was seriously expecting that my reviewing of Redmi Note 14 Pro will be as interesting as reviewing GTX 1060 or RTX 3060 or even Ryzen 7, any generation of Ryzen 7 to be clear. Why? Because I was reviewing a guaranteed bestseller for $300, which will sell millions of copies whenever I like it or not, and I will not be able to influence it positively or otherwise. And thinking by this very stereotype, I was expecting a device beautiful but boring, competent everywhere, but not expressive even in the slightest. But no. Redmi Note 14 Pro is anything but boring because it's unpredictable. It's one hell of a roller coaster, believe me. Now, this video will be relatively short about the most important things. A detailed and in-depth review with all the nuances is already available in the text form on our website. The link is in the description below the video. Next, quick market spoiler. You should be aware that there is a Redmi Note 14 Pro 4G, aka this one, which is about $300, and a Redmi Note 14 Pro 5G, which is about $400. I do not want you to confuse these models, because Google does it constantly and loves to push one instead of the another, and those are very different devices. The easiest indicator of the difference is the battery: 5500 mAh in 4G version and 5110 in the 5G one. Also, I'll spare you the details of what's in the box, because my version did not come with the charging brick, which is not peachy. But as far as I know, the other versions will have 40-watt charger in a box. It depends on the market, on the region in the world. Next, Redmi Note 14 Pro has 4 strengths. Design is the first one. The screen is rounded on the sides, which has always been a sign of prestige and premium, at least for me. Some of you may burp at it, I understand, but not me. I'm delighted. Plus, the body material is not glossy but matte. And the camera modules is it is not only functional, it's also original and expressive at the same time. Plus, it is very protected by the included silicone case. And the screen, by the way, has a film on it from the factory. But I think it's not film, I think it's a protective glass. Film is hard to glue on the curved screen. This screen, by the way, is almost or flawless, depending on your requirements. It is AMOLED 6.67 inches FHD Plus with declared peak brightness of 1800 nits. The display is 10-bit with support of HDR10 Plus and Dolby Vision. The refresh rate is 120 Hz. The PWM is almost 2000 Hz and the sampling rate is almost 500. Ergonomics is also great. Even mini jack and IR blasters are present. Control buttons are in the best place on the right side. You can even see the stereo speakers. Add to this IP64 and Corning Gorilla Glass Victus 2 and you will get top of the line set for premium budget, I'll say. Yes, weird, I know, but $300 as for me is just between the budget and the middle class, which dictates some misses in specs, but not much. Next up, the cameras. Just as A10 Warthog was built around GAU8, this very phone was built around the 200 megapixel sensor with an optical stabilization. This is Samsung ISOCELL S5K HP3 SP, which supports digital 4x zoom with almost no loss in quality. Yes, it's not optical, but still, it is much better than 200 megapixel mode with just a artificial zoom. And I will say no more about cameras. Firstly, because 99% of the audience of this very phone will not use other modules and maybe will not even change modes from the default one. Secondly, I do not want to disappoint you too much. For example, you should not know that 4K video is not supported, or that micro module is useless or even worked on my sample. I also do not want, but I will add HyperOS as a positive. I am not a big fan of this shell. Dare I say more, 5-page script about it is probably the most negative thing I've written in 3 years. But I will admit, yes, HyperOS has very few outstanding advantages, but in general, this shell is safe, stable, fast, reliable, it is pleasing to the eyes, it's stylish and sometimes even saves this phone from the main drawback. Only in some places, but it does. And now, what's the drawback I was talking about? The SoC. MediaTek Helio G100 or G100 Ultra, they are 99% the same, a little to no difference. This is a low-end smartphone SoC with an average cost of about $220. And it has its advantages with a support of 200 megapixel modules, for example, but it goes only for 100,000 points in Antutu V10. It has Mali G57 MC2 video core from 2021, which means that everything in games will be at minimum settings. It does not have Wi-Fi 6E support and the Bluetooth version is 5.3 ideally, but 5.2 is promised by the manufacturer. I don't know what the actual version is because I cannot check it. And the charging speed. It's weird. My sample from a box refused to take more than 20 watts by Type-C and took no more than 10 watts by Type-A. So, first-party Xiaomi bricks and power banks that both support 120 watts did charge the phone 12 times slower. It took up to 5 hours to charge from 5% to 100. Then I rebooted phone 3 times. Then I updated HyperOS 1 times, and voila, 1 times. Up to 40 watts by first-party chargers and up to 30 watts by Type-C ones, from 5% to 100% in 55 minutes. The situation is weird, but hey, previous budget MediaTek SoCs were even worse, so thanks for 40 watts, I really appreciate the progress. Now, to recap. Redmi Note 14 Pro is a bright smartphone and I will recommend it based on its advantages, but with an eye on the negatives. The design, cameras, peripherals, screen, all of it is either great or flawless. All the flaws crawl from the SoC, and all the flaws are crawling from the SoC, but in general, if you are satisfied with somewhat low performance, weak connectivity and weak charging, then yes, Redmi Note 14 Pro I can recommend without any problem. And that's all for me. In the comments below, please write down what's your stance on MediaTek as a company. Do you trust it, or Snapdragon is your only choice? Personally, I have my Redmi Note 13 Pro Plus 5G with Dimensity 7200 Ultra and it's brilliant, no complaints. But you? Right, don't be shy. Don't forget to like, subscribe and push the bell icon. But the comments are the most important as usual. YouTube just loves them. My name is Denis Zachenko with Root-Nation channel. Take care and I'll see you later.